A simple 1985 quarter. The kind you toss on the counter for a coffee without thinking twice. The kind that jingles in your pocket as you go about your day. The kind nobody believes could change a life. But this one did, because it hides a secret that only the luckiest collectors ever uncover. The kind of secret that turns a regular American quarter into a once-in-a-generation treasure. One man found one. And when he realized what he was holding, his whole life changed in an instant. But before we get to that shocking discovery, we need to go back to the Denver Mint in 1985. A fast-paced year where billions of coins were struck. A year where everyday coins rolled off the presses non-stop. And not everything went according to plan. That's where this mystery begins. Mint workers were grinding through huge production orders. Metal planchets moving so fast that a single error, just one tiny mistake, could slip through the system unnoticed. And one mistake did slip through. Something went horribly wrong that day. Collectors would only realize decades later. You dump out your change. You look at a quarter. It looks normal. You're about to spend it. But then you notice something. Something strange. Something that shouldn't exist. That is exactly how this million-dollar miracle was discovered. The man who found it didn't think much of coins. He wasn't a collector. He wasn't hunting treasure. He just had a random jar where he threw extra change. But one night, he was counting it, and one coin felt different. He picked it up, and the details were sharper than any other 1985 quarter he had ever seen. The edges were extraordinary. The surface looked almost silver in a way he had never noticed before. It almost glowed. It didn't look like the rest. His curiosity led him to a coin shop. And the moment the dealer saw it, he froze. It was a Denver-minted 1985 Washington quarter, struck on a silver planchet that was never supposed to be used in that year. A mistake so rare that only a handful are believed to exist. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to learn more, because this wasn't just a high-grade quarter. This was a coin that the U.S. Mint never wanted anyone to see. But what happened next stunned everyone in the coin world. The coin went to auction. Experts battled over its authenticity. And when the final gavel came down, the price skyrocketed. Nearly $1 million for a coin most people would have spent on gum. I've handled that exact coin. I might have one. It could be sitting in my house right now. And they were right. But here's where things get even more unbelievable. The silver planchet error isn't the only thing that makes the 1985 D quarter dangerous to ignore. There are other rare mistakes, each one capable of creating a fortune. Some show doubling on George Washington's profile, his nose, his lips, or the date itself appearing twice. A doubling so powerful, so dramatic, that any solid example could send collectors into a frenzy. Others were struck off-center, so wildly misaligned that part of the design disappears into empty metal space. The kind of shockingly obvious error that could pay for a new car in an instant. And there are those with dramatic die cracks, jagged scars stretching across the coin's face, proof that the die was never meant to last that long. One dramatic crack can transform a normal pocket change find into thousands of dollars. But the most coveted of all always comes back to the same legendary flaw, the silver planchet that never should have been. People assume silver quarters stopped in 1964. But in rare cases, leftover silver blanks slipped into later runs. 1985 should not have any silver quarters. Yet somehow, one does, maybe more, which means someone watching this right now could be the next life-changing discovery. Collectors whisper about the possibility. Dealers keep their eyes open. Treasure hunters know one thing for sure. The most valuable coins are never the ones people expect. Think about it. One ordinary coin. One forgotten year. One tiny minting accident the world wasn't supposed to notice. And that little mystery can deliver $1 million without warning. You buy a soda, get a few coins back, and one quarter feels different. You take a closer look, and slowly, as your heart starts pounding, you recognize it. The American dream, disguised as pocket change. There are simple signs you must check. Flip the coin and look at the edge. If it's silver, it will show a pure gray tone instead of the usual copper stripe. Check the weight. A standard 1985 quarter weighs 5.67 grams. But the secret silver error weighs around 6.25 grams. A tiny difference. That means a massive fortune. Inspect the details. Silver planchet strikes often show sharper imagery, deeper lines, cleaner edges. They look and feel different. Special. Alive. Then you might be holding more than just a rarity. You might be holding the key to a new life. People have ignored these coins for nearly 40 years. They roll through laundromats, car wash machines, and casino slots without anyone noticing. But now, collectors are watching closely, because every day, someone finds another rare treasure in the unlikeliest place. Picture the moment you learn the truth. You take your coin to a professional grader. They confirm what you hoped. They hand you a certificate. Your hands are shaking. You feel like you're dreaming. Then, an auction house calls, and suddenly, that one little quarter is worth $1 million from a coin that was almost lost to time. The 1985 D. Washington quarter is still out there, hidden in cashier drawers, hiding in jars of spare change, waiting inside wallets and glove compartments and forgotten piggy banks. People walk past their future fortune every day because they don't know what to look for. But now, you do. Take your time. Check every coin. Look closely. Run your fingers along the edges. Study the shine. Let your curiosity lead you, because the next headline could be your story. And if fate has placed one of these rare 1985 D mysteries into your life, don't let it slip away, because this exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding a regular quarter, just 25 cents, the kind you might use to grab a soda from a vending machine. Now imagine that same little coin having the power to change your life forever. One collector's ordinary 2000 D South Carolina quarter did exactly that. And what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because this coin hides mistakes. Mistakes so tiny, almost invisible, mistakes that dealers are now willing to pay a fortune for, just to get a chance to own one. That's the thrill of coin collecting, right? One person's pocket change becomes another person's $1 million miracle. The year 2000. The new state quarter program was exploding in popularity. Millions of Americans were checking their spare change for the newest designs. South Carolina's turn came early in the year. The palmetto tree, the Carolina wren, the outline of the state, a star marking Columbia. Clean, beautiful, patriotic. The Denver Mint produced over 580 million of them. Nobody thought a rare treasure would come out of that enormous run. But it did. A strange and secret accident inside the mint presses turned a tiny number of these coins into something completely different. Something unbelievably valuable. These rare survivors now sit inside high-security vaults. And the collectors who recognized them early? They became legends. But the story didn't start with fame. It started with doubt. One man in Colorado had a jar of quarters sitting on his desk. For months, he ignored them. Just leftovers from gas station snacks and coffee runs. But one day, he noticed something odd. The edges looked different. The shine was off. Something felt wrong. His curiosity took over. He grabbed a magnifying glass, and his heart nearly stopped when he saw it. A double strike error, doubling across the letters. The palmetto tree shifted where it shouldn't be. The outline of the state ghosted in a second place. The details appeared almost like they were vibrating. He thought maybe his eyes were playing tricks on him. Maybe it was damage. But the more he looked, the more he realized this was real. He rushed it to a coin dealer. The dealer's eyebrows lifted. The room fell silent. The coin got sent to a grading company. And when the grade came back, that man's entire financial life changed forever. Because the highest graded, most dramatic 2000 D South Carolina state quarter errors are now valued at up to $1.1 million. Most people who have these coins don't even know it. They're sitting in drawers, hiding in piggy banks, traveling through the world as regular change. Every day, someone spends one without knowing they just lost $1 million. Collectors are terrified of missing them. Dealers are hunting for them like buried treasure. And nobody can predict when the next one will surface. It all comes down to the tiniest clues. Little imperfections that separate a miracle coin from a meaningless one. Some of the most valuable pieces have dramatic double strikes. The design shifted in a second location. Others show incomplete plating layers, exposing hints of copper beneath the surface. A few even left the Denver Mint missing critical details. They look like factory ghosts of what they were intended to be. And because the Mint was pumping out so many coins so quickly that year, quality control slipped. The mistakes slipped through undetected. And now, collectors are frantic to track them down. But here's the twist. Just when collectors thought they knew all the varieties, a new one surfaced. A rotated die error. The front and back don't align correctly. A simple spin of the coin reveals a shocking misalignment that shouldn't exist. And every time a fresh example appears, bidding wars break out. Dealers whisper behind closed doors. Secrets spread like wildfire. But what happened next shocked even the grading companies that a particularly stunning specimen, nearly flawless, showed up in a private sale. Its owner had pulled it from a handful of pocket change almost 25 years earlier. It sold for a price that stunned even seasoned numismatists, pushing the value of top examples into life-changing territory. Up to $1.1 million for the best of the best. Think about that. A coin you could accidentally drop between your car seats. A coin you could mistakenly toss into a tip jar. A coin you could lose forever without ever realizing what you had to. Here's where the story becomes personal. Picture the first time you started looking closely at your coins. That excitement, that spark, the hope of finding something the world overlooked. This quarter rewards that curiosity. It rewards the patient searchers, the ones who believe the unbelievable could be real. Because every time someone checks their change, another miracle becomes possible. Another ordinary person gets a shot at $1 million discovery. And if you're watching this right now, that person could be you. You know the kind of line I mean. The moment everyone was waiting for, a new collector discovered a South Carolina quarter error at a flea market. It cost him just 25 cents. The dealer thought nothing of it. But the buyer noticed a shadow of a second strike near the state outline. He held his breath, sent it off for grading. And when the confirmation came back, his life changed overnight. The value? Enough to pay off his house. Enough to vanish financial worries forever. A single moment of curiosity. A single twist of fate. Right now, you need to check every single detail. Flip the coin over. Look for doubling on South Carolina or 1738 or the motto, E pluribus unum. Look for a strong ghost-like shift of the palmetto tree. Tilted under a bright light. Search for split lines, doubled outlines, misaligned edges. Test the alignment by twisting the coin top to bottom. If the back doesn't perfectly match the front, your heart might start racing. Errors are the keys to the treasure. And the Denver Mint's rarest mistakes are the ones worth the big money. Collectors say that thrill of discovery is like electricity. That moment when you notice something nobody else spotted. A secret hiding in plain sight. And with the 2000D South Carolina quarter, that secret could be worth $1 million. Keep your jars. Search your drawers. Dump out those old coin rolls collecting dust. Because somewhere out there right now, a life-changing treasure is waiting to be found by someone who refuses to stop looking. A simple piece of pocket change. A quarter worth just 25 cents. But today, collectors believe the right one could sell for up to $1.2 million. And if you have it, your entire life could change in an instant. Now imagine this. A man in the Midwest cracks open a dusty old jar of change he kept on a shelf for 15 years. Nothing special. Just laundry money. Quarters from vending machines. Loose coins left in the car. He pours them out, sifts through, and stops. Something feels different. Something looks different. He doesn't know why yet, but that single quarter in his hand will stun experts, ignite massive bidding wars, and rewrite coin collecting history. That quarter was a 2006 P Mint Mark South Dakota State quarter. A coin most people spent without a second thought. But this one was not like the others. Collectors were shocked when they saw it. Dealers rushed to get their hands on it. And rumors spread quickly that hidden among ordinary coins was a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Hold on tight, because this story goes much deeper than a lucky guess. The South Dakota quarter honored the Mount Rushmore state in all its rugged pride. For legendary presidents carved in stone, a soaring pheasant bursting into flight, evergreens standing tall. But with such a complex design, there was a risk. Any tiny mistake in minting could produce dramatic errors. And those errors could turn a simple quarter into $1 million jackpot. A powerful strike error that left parts of the design ghosted, stretched, or misaligned. Collectors whispered about one specific specimen discovered in an everyday roll of quarters. A coin so perfect yet so flawed that grading experts could not believe their eyes. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The coin was authenticated, certified, and instantly skyrocketed into the elite tier of million-dollar coins. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. It got people thinking. If his coin was found in a random roll, how many more are still hiding in jars, in drawers, in bank rolls waiting to be opened? This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look very closely. The most valuable errors often appear where the pheasant's wings and Mount Rushmore's details intersect. Doubling, distortion, extra metal, even faint clashes between layers of the design. Every one of those anomalies sends dealers into a frenzy. Collectors began reporting strange findings. Some coins had an unusual shadow of the president's profiles shifted slightly. Some showed the pheasant's feathers doubling. A few even displayed a partial absence of the outer plating, revealing the inner copper core like exposed treasure. Just imagine staring at a quarter that casually shows you a gateway to fortune. The Philadelphia Mint was producing millions of state quarters at breakneck speed. Massive pressure, worn dies, tiny imperfections multiplying as machines ran nonstop. In that chaos, a handful of quarters were born with shocking defects and somehow escaped into the world. But here's the twist every collector needs to hear. The rarest versions of this coin look almost perfect at first glance. That's the trick. They blend in. They hide. They pretend to be ordinary. You could have one and never realize what you're holding. But what happened after that first $1 million sale only fueled more obsession. Coin hunters launched nationwide searches. People checked every coin from their pockets, their glove compartments, their old piggy banks. Dealers raised bounties, promising life-changing payouts for confirmed discoveries. And every now and then, a new one surfaced that a man found one in change from a gas station. A woman spotted one in a church donation bucket. Each discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting world. Each new coin proved the treasure hunt was far from over. Collectors were suddenly wide awake. Hope was alive, and every 2006 South Dakota quarter became a potential golden ticket. But here's where it gets truly unbelievable. Some of the rarest South Dakota era coins have never been publicly sold. They are locked away in private vaults, hidden from the world, quietly gaining value. Experts say the next one to hit auction could push well past $1.2 million. Think about that. Your life, changed by a single coin most people ignore. Look deeper. Hold the coin up to the light. Study the Washington portrait and the details of Mount Rushmore. Inspect the bird's wings for doubling or unnatural splits. Check for missing lettering. Look for odd metal texture. Examine the rim. Any break in the border, any misalignment, any shift in the strike can turn an everyday quarter into a treasure. Collectors say the most valuable errors almost feel like they shouldn't exist, like the mint never meant for anyone to see them. And here's the part that gives every coin hunter chills. Many people already own these coins and spent them, used them in vending machines, tossed them into parking meters, lost them forever without knowing they held a fortune. Just imagine the regret. Just imagine the thrill when someone, maybe even you, discovers one right now. This coin is proof that history hides itself in the smallest places. It proves the American dream isn't just a legend. You don't need a vault filled with rare gold. You don't need $1 million estate. Sometimes, all you need is one forgotten quarter that someone else overlooked. Collectors are still searching. Dealers are still watching. The next life-changing discovery is out there, waiting for someone bold enough to look closely. Take a moment. Check that pocket change. Dig through that jar on the fridge. Reopen that drawer you haven't touched in years. The next South Dakota treasure could be somewhere in your home right this second. Because the greatest secret the mint ever stamped into metal is that fortune hides in plain sight. And the quarter that could make you rich is not locked behind museum glass. It is out in the world, circulating, waiting for the right eyes to see its power. Imagine this. A man is sorting through a dusty jar of quarters he almost threw away during a spring cleaning frenzy. He wipes one coin clean, squints at the tiny details, and suddenly realizes his life may never be the same again. His heart starts pounding, because he's holding what collectors now call the Arizona treasure. A 2008 Mint Mark Arizona quarter that would soon explode in value and flip the coin collecting world upside down. This coin wasn't supposed to be special. It was just another quarter honoring Arizona's majestic Grand Canyon and the saguaro cactus rising proudly from the desert rock. But something happened at the Philadelphia Mint. A mistake, a shadow, a tiny but powerful flaw no one expected. And that flaw became the key to a $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word began to spread. Photos leaked, and collectors started whispering about a strange line cutting through the design. a mysterious strike that made the cactus look like it was disappearing into the rock. At first, everyone thought it was damage. Just a coin scraped against a grocery store floor or a parking meter. But this wasn't damage at all. This was a minting error, a real minting error, created at the source by the machines that stamp history into metal. Dealers tried to deny it. They tried to keep the news under wraps because when a coin like this escapes the mint, its value can skyrocket overnight. But there was no stopping it. The photos kept spreading, and collectors were shocked because this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The cactus on these flawed quarters is partially erased by the rock, a delicate engraving of desert life vanishing behind a stone ridge that was never supposed to cover it. If this line crosses at just the right angle, if it hides the cactus instead of simply touching it, that's when the price climbs higher and higher. And suddenly, a pocket change quarter becomes a chance at $1.3 million. One collector described the moment he learned the truth. He looked again. The rock was covering the cactus perfectly. His knees nearly gave out. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. His everyday life didn't feel so everyday anymore. But what happened when he mentioned it to a dealer changed everything. The dealer's hands started shaking. He took a deep breath and made an offer on the spot. A big offer. But the collector knew the truth. If one dealer was desperate to buy immediately, then others would be too. That quarter wasn't just rare. It was history. And history doesn't come cheap. Collectors are now rushing to search their drawers, their cars, their hidden stashes of coins. They know that somewhere out there, more Arizona-era quarters are waiting to be found, waiting to turn dreamers into millionaires. And every day someone spends one at a gas station without realizing what they just gave away. But there's something even more shocking. Not every Arizona quarter with a line is valuable. Many have scratches or post-mint damage, and those are worth just a quarter. This is where most people make a heartbreaking mistake. They think they found treasure until they learn the cactus isn't actually covered. It's just scraped, and the value drops like a stone in the desert. But if you find the real deal, the original minting error, get ready. Collectors say the thrill is like discovering buried treasure under your kitchen table. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle simply because he looked closer than anyone else. And now, here's the truth you've been waiting for. Hold your 2008 Arizona quarter under strong light. Focus your eyes on the left side of the cactus. There must be a solid raised ridge of rock that clearly overlaps and hides part of the cactus, especially the lower arms. The lines should look minted into the design, not scratched over top of it. If the ridge looks like it cuts cleanly into the cactus, creating what collectors call the extra cactus error, you may have found the coin of a lifetime. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't toss it back into change. Protect it. Because dealers are hunting for these. Auction houses are preparing for the next shock sale. And every minute you wait could be a lost chance at wealth. Tonight, we're uncovering the hidden treasure of the 2001 Mint Mark Kentucky $quarter coin. A coin so ordinary, yet hiding secrets that could change someone's life forever. Keep watching closely, because one small detail could mean the difference between 25 cents and $1 million. A man in Denver pays for his morning coffee. He doesn't think twice as a shiny quarter slips across the counter. The barista drops it into the register, unaware that the state featured on that coin, the home of the legendary Kentucky Derby, is suddenly at the center of a storm in the coin world. What happened next stunned collectors everywhere, because experts discovered a mistake, a rare flaw, so small that millions of Americans have already overlooked it. A flaw that turned simple pocket change into millionaire-making gold. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to get their hands on it. Auction rooms went silent as bids climbed higher and higher and higher. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. Not every 2001 Kentucky quarter has this power. You have to know exactly what to search for. Stick with me, because in just a moment, you'll discover how to tell if the quarter in your drawer, forgotten and dusty, is actually a hidden treasure waiting to explode in value. The story begins with the year 2001. The United States Mint was producing billions of coins as part of the state quarters program. Kentucky proudly took its place with the famous Federal Hill Mansion, a racing horse, and the phrase "my old Kentucky home." Coins poured out of the Denver Mint. Racks of brand-new quarters, hot from the presses, streaming into bags and rolling toward banks across America. Nobody noticed anything unusual. Not yet. But then, rumors began. Collectors whispering about strange markings, lettering doubling, a design struck slightly off-center, a flaw in the gate near the mansion, one small mint error that shouldn't exist, but does. And once the rumors reached the auction houses, everything changed overnight. Bids skyrocketed. Speculators swarmed. Quarters once tossed aside like crumbs suddenly felt like tiny lottery tickets. And while most of these coins remained worth only face value, a select few became the stuff of legend. But this is where the story gets even more unbelievable that a collector in Texas walked into a coin show with a pocket full of change. Among that loose change was a Kentucky quarter. He had no idea what he carried. None. He set it on a dealer's table casually, like it meant nothing. The dealer spotted something odd. His eyes widened. His heart raced. He bought the coin immediately and vanished into the back room to confirm his suspicion. Within weeks, that exact coin crossed an auction block under blinding lights. The bidding grew tense. Collectors held their breath. When the hammer finally dropped, reports claimed the price soared to around $1.4 million. 25 cents, transformed into a millionaire's dream. But wait, here's where you need to pay attention, because this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Some of these Kentucky quarters are known to have rare doubling on the letters, especially around the words United States of America or around Kentucky in my old Kentucky home. In a few cases, the horse appears slightly distorted due to misalignment during striking. One particular set shows a dramatic die error near the mansion gate, like an extra metal blob or missing piece of the fencing. To the untrained eye, it looks like normal wear. To an expert, that little flaw is the golden ticket. Collectors were stunned by how subtle the treasure really was. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any top-grade versions of these coins. Even those without the major error, if graded perfectly by top authentication companies, have been valued at thousands. But the true monsters, the once-in-a-generation pieces, those are the ones worth up to $1 million. But what happened next shocked everyone again. More stories rolled in. A man in Ohio discovered one in a parking lot. A woman sorting laundry found one in a jeans pocket. A grandfather gave his grandson a jar of quarters for his birthday, and that kid may be sitting on a fortune right now without even knowing it. Each discovery proving one truth. The biggest treasures usually hide where we least expect. People around the country began checking their change like their lives depended on it. Flashlights came out. Magnifying glasses. Piles of coins spread across kitchen tables. Excitement filled living rooms. Could this be the one? Could this be the $1 million miracle? And in many cases, the answer was yes. They assume their coins are too new to be valuable. They let doubt win. They spend the quarter on a soda or drop it in a change jar. And that's how fortunes vanish silently. Right now, someone out there has a 2001 Kentucky quarter sitting under their car seat, buried in an old wallet, stuck between couch cushions, tossed into a Coinstar machine. And they just gave away glory. You don't want that to be your story. Not when one simple check could change your future. Look closely. Really closely. The D-mint mark should be sharp and clear. Any doubling on lettering means huge potential. Any unusual mark on the horse or mansion could be a sign of a rare minting error. And if your coin looks almost perfect, with no scratches or damage, that is where the real gold lies. The highest graded examples draw the biggest crowds and the loudest gasps in the auction house. This is your moment. Collectors dream of finding a once-in-a-lifetime coin. And this one doesn't just tell a story about Kentucky's heritage. It tells a story of destiny, of surprise, of the incredible power hiding in the smallest places. Wealth isn't always locked in banks or stock markets. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. Sometimes it hides in the palm of your hand. And sometimes it slips right past you because you never knew what to look for, but now you do. Check your change. Search your drawers. Explore every forgotten jar of coins. A 2001 Kentucky quarter could be waiting for you to discover it. And when you do, everything could change.